Last year, Cabby Fingers and I started our work together on the Sign Me Fingers Big and Small campaign in partnership with National Deaf Children's Society. Cabby Dermot Fingers are made when everyone comes together. But for many people, these moments can be quite isolating as we find ourselves trying to piece bits of the conversation together. We set out to get people learning British Sign Language with everyday phrases so more of us can feel included in the conversation. And just like that, the campaign created awareness of my superpower. I am so excited to announce that this year I get to continue the partnership with Cabby Fingers as they have come on board to help me launch the first ever series of Superpowers with Tasha. Together, we want more people to share their own superpowers so more of us can feel included. As well as providing the best studio snack for me and my guests, getting to work with Cabby Fingers again means we will be reminding you regularly to keep learning a little BSL via the Sign Me Fingers Hub. You can even learn, would you like a snack? And my answer every time, yes. Head to signmefingers.cabby.co.uk to start your BSL journey. Hey everyone, welcome back to Superpowers with Tasha. Today we've got an amazing, empowering guest with us. She's skin positive, acne advocating influencer, and she really breaks down boundaries about body positivity as well. So I want you to welcome the amazing, gorgeous Izzie Rodgers. She's here with us today. I'm really, really excited for this one because the things that you stand for and you really, really use your social media for the good. Like you really use your platform to speak about, you know, your acne and body positivity and really breaking down that social media kind of boundaries. So I want to welcome you here.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here, honestly.
I'm really excited to have you here because it's weird because we already kind of know each other as well.
I know, it's really weird. Mutual friends.
Yeah, mutual friends. But no, I just want to kind of George back into you like growing up and so you had acne before you just were 21, right?
Yeah, like 20s kind of like I never had any acne like as a child. Like in my teen years I was like so blessed with clear skin. Like I'd have one spot and I remember being so like moaning and insecure about that one spot. Like little did I know what was actually coming.
Yeah.
And then when I turned 20, like obviously you think like when you're in your 20s like that's like you've made it through without getting the horrendous acne that teenagers get. And then I got it when I turned 20 and I was like, what is going on? Like, it was really like scary time.
Yeah, I can imagine because you kind of like how was it for you like mentally? Was it kind of like did it just appear over a night or was it kind of like a growth kind of thing?
It was weird, like it almost did like appear overnight. Like I remember looking in the mirror and like I had a few like spots and they felt different to normal. Like they were like big, like I remember one here was like really like big and cystic and I was like, what is going on? And then like I remember seeing like I have a picture on my phone where like there's like redness around and you can see like where it's all growing underneath and then like it was literally within not long at all it just like literally came out and it was like fairly quick. I'd say like maybe a month or two like and it was like all over. So it was like going from clear skin to like all over my face was like such a hard transition period because it wasn't just like a slow process where I could just like get used to it.
Yeah,
like it was like instant almost.
Yeah, so you kind of had to really kind of like deal with it in a way and I can imagine that was hard, especially with social media and stuff. And, like there's not many like platforms out there that normalise acne. And
I know. I didn't see any.
It.
Like I didn't see any. Like my Instagram was really fairly normal before. Like I just followed friends like and family. I never really followed obviously like Kim K and all them people like you'd follow like the normal like influencers, but like I never really followed anyone that's in like my world now. So I really did think that no one had it. And like all of my friends, like, you know, like our mutual friend, like she's got skin like baby's bum, like, and that's like all of my friends. So like when it happened, I was like, oh my God, like I stand out like a sore thumb, like especially when we were going out to like bars and things, I'd literally be like, everyone around me looks so like beautiful and I've literally got a face full of spots.
Yeah.
So it was difficult. And being an adult as well, like I remember a massive like struggle for me was going to work because it was the first job I'd got in London and I thought like, right, I'm an adult now and like I was in like a very adult environment.
Yeah.
Like because we were in like essentially interns like on placement and I remember thinking like I probably looked like such a child and I thought that was stopping me like almost getting like a job because I wasn't being taken seriously because like I felt like a little kid like with spots. So that was difficult.
Yeah.
Like, and that is what's difficult when you get it when you're an adult, because it's like you're not really meant to have it.
Yeah. But I think it's kind of like, but acne can happen to anyone at any kind of time. And I think what you're doing now with your social media is really good, because you're actually normalising it. And did it take a while for you to kind of go, actually, I'm going to accept it and show people that it's okay to have acne and it's okay to not have to cover it up? Like, did you used to cover it up first?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, majorly. Like, it was hell. Like, I remember, like, getting it was, like, near summertime, and I would go out in a scarf, like, because I'd wanted to cover, like, because my acne was really bad, like, around my mouth. So, like, I'd go out with a scarf on and it was, like, boiling hot, just so I could, like, have it over my face.
Yeah.
And even things like, if a delivery man knocked on the door, I literally wouldn't answer it if Lou was there. Like, I'd let it go because I know it'd come back the next day. Because if I couldn't get my makeup on in time, or like, I just would literally not even answer the door. Yeah. So like, that's like where I was before. And like, in terms of social media, I was editing my pictures so bad. Like, it's kind of good now because I use them for content, like what I used to post versus what I post now. Yeah. So like, in a weird way, I'm glad I kind of did do that because it's good content. But yeah, I'd cover it bad. Like, when I look back on it, it's so obvious as well. Like, but I remember looking at the pictures thinking, yeah, that editing is so good. And now when I look at it, I'm like, that's so obvious that I've blurred my skin. Yeah. But like, that's how scared I was about it. And like, in terms of like when I actually posted, I had taken a photo because I felt so bad about it, so depressed about it. And I couldn't go out, couldn't answer the door. I was like, what's my main like fear? And my main fear was like bumping into people and them having that moment where like I see that they've noticed it. Yeah. And that giving me that sinking feeling where I'm like, oh my God, they've seen it. Especially people from school, because they knew me for like clear skin. Yeah. And like when I spoke to my boyfriend about it, I was like, right, that's the main thing that's worrying me. So the answer was to post a picture online without any makeup on, like, because that would be like, make it a known thing. And then when people meet me, they're not going to go, whoa, like, didn't know her skin was bad. It'd be like, oh, I saw that post. But I took the photo, and it took me months. And then I didn't post it, and my boyfriend ended up just posting it. And I was like, no. And then from that moment on, it was just like, I just felt so much better about it. So I didn't actually post it. It was him.
Wow. It's amazing that. How long have you and your boyfriend been together?
Pretty like 3 years, but we were like seeing each other for like a good like half a year before that, so almost 4 years now.
That's amazing to have that kind of like support of like, you know what, Izzie, let's just do it. And
I know.
I think it's probably like a weight off your shoulders at that point, wasn't it?
Oh yeah,
like,
I don't think I ever would have done it myself. Like, I was really mad when he first done it. Like, I was really like, oh my God, I wasn't ready to do that. Why did you do it? Yeah. And then I remember throwing my phone on the floor, and I was like, oh, I just don't even want, like, I don't know what to do. Like, I delete it. And I remember seeing all the likes come in, and like so many people commenting like, oh my God, like, you're still so beautiful. And I was just like, I know it's bad to need validation from others, but sometimes you actually do just need a bit of validation that like it's actually not like a terrible thing that you're going through. And as soon as I saw them comments, I was like, oh, okay, yeah, I'm all right.
I'm sure it's nice to have that support come through and think, actually, it's not. Yeah. Sometimes in your head you really overthink it and really make it worse, but actually it's not that like, you know, it's like me sometimes. Like sometimes I overthink and be like, when I was younger, I never would wear my hair up. I'd be like, no, I don't want to wear it up. But then actually, when you pass that step of like overcoming that fear, it just lets go, doesn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, actually, you know what?
Well, I know, like, and then you think back, like, I'm sure you think back now, like, to times where you wouldn't even tie your hair up. Like, I think back to times now where I wouldn't even answer the door for a bloody parcel that I was like excited to receive, and like, you almost feel like so ridiculous. Like, how are we even the same person? Like, it's such a change. Like, it's crazy.
Yeah, it's all about growth though, isn't it? It's about, you know, finding it and accepting who you are. And I think it's so, like, you are gorgeous, by the way. I just want to say, like, you are. And I think it's so nice. Like, honestly, anyone, like, go check out her Instagram, TikTok. Like, just the way that she really embraces yourself and just who you are. And obviously you do positivity as well, and you really break down the strict kind of social media, what way to kind of look like, and you actually know this is normal. Like, I love the fact that you normalise any kind of bodies, and you literally like posed and then unposed, like things like that. And I just love that you really do that. Did that come at the same time when you were embracing your acne, or was that kind of soon after?
That was kind of like my like issues with my body and things like that was something that was very deep down, and I've had since I was younger and little, so it wasn't really something that I ever felt like I needed to like really just out, because it was so bad. Like, it's something I've dealt with for so long, it just kind of felt like me. So there wasn't a moment where I'm like, oh, I need to like out myself like I did with acne. So naturally, like when I started to do that and I was like following other people, they were inspiring me, and I just felt like that's where my page should go, because I know how much growth I've made in that department as well. Like I can do things like that. And like it still baffles me now because I still do like struggle with my body. So like it's crazy like to think like the type of things I post, like it's almost like I can look back on it and be like in my moments where I do feel bad about my body, I can look back and be like, well, I've posted this, like everyone knows what I look like. Everyone knows like literally I'm in my underwear. Like I can't hide much more than that. Like so it makes me really confident.
Yeah, that's really good, because I feel like out there on social media you don't really see that. Like you see the, post, or you see the editing, and it's crazy how like Instagram's become such like a platform of like Instagram's not real, really. Yeah. When you think about it, it's not. And I know. It's all about, that's why I like your platform, because you're really real on it, and you're like, actually, what? I am going to use my platform and be real. I think it's so important, especially with the generation we're in now. Nowadays, kind of, people use social media to talk about, what they go through, mental health, everything. Exactly. So I think the younger generation now also kind of have that to look up to and think, actually, it's not okay to say that. Yeah. I think, back in the day, it's just, school was just like school's not.
Don't get me started. You must have had like quite a bad time. Well, not a bad time, but you must have like struggled a bit, because like, thinking back to my school, I don't think I saw anyone with this cocker implant. Is that what you call it? Yeah. Like, I don't think I ever saw anyone with anything like that. So like, I'm guessing you probably felt a little bit alone.
Yeah, I did for sure. And like no one else had a cocker implant in my school. So I did, but I was quite lucky because I had quite a good group of friends, but I just never would speak about it or be open. But I did get cyberbullied and stuff. But it's just like keyboard warriors, isn't it?
Yeah, classic.
Just a classic keyboard.
You probably get them now, like another level.
Oh yeah, I'm sure. Do you get hate as well?
Yeah, I do get quite a lot. But to be honest, like my type of content, like I love it, and that sounds ridiculous, but I absolutely love it because it gives me like ammunition to make content. Like a lot of my content will be like I'll take a hate comment and then I'll do something on screen that is against it. So like, the more brutal ones that come in, I think, wow, this is going to make a bit of content that's going to explode. So it's like I've managed to flip something that's so like horrible into like
positive.
Like I'll even use them in like paid like posts. So I think like, you're actually paying my wages, honey. Like you're calling me fat and ugly, but babe, you're actually paying. You're paying my bills.
No, I love that, turning negative into a positive. Yeah. Love to see it. And I think you need to have that mentality really to kind of be like, you know what? Trolls are always going to be trolls. Like you get like, it's just who they are, and
can't avoid it.
It's them projecting insecurities onto you. That's what it is, and it's all about having a stronger head and be like, actually, you know what? I use it as motivation to use my platform even more. So I'm like, you know what? You're just giving me that fire.
Yeah, exactly.
It's that more energy.
I think like sometimes the ones that's more like based around like my personality and stuff, they're the ones that sort of hurt me a bit more. Like I know people can call me ugly and fat. Like I deeply know that I'm not ugly and I'm not really overweight. Like, so it doesn't affect me. But I do think like sometimes when it's like bashing your personality and things like that, that's when it's a bit hard, because it's like I'll never be able to really prove like who you are. I'm sure you get that. Like you've probably got like, so much worse than me. Like the audacity of me moaning about that in front of you. Like
no, you don't like don't. Honestly, you have every right to
everyone
feel
has
like
their
that.
scales, but like I'm sure you can relate to that. Like they're the trolls and the hate that's kind of like a little bit more sore for me. But
I agree, because I think it's hard. I think especially being in the show, like my friends had to see what people were saying about me. They're like, Tasha's not like
for
that.
A fight, left, right, and centre.
And
like,
it's hard because when you have your personality, like. That hurts me as well sometimes, but sometimes you have to be like, they don't really know me. Like if they sat down with me right now, had a conversation with me, they would change their opinion.
Exactly.
So it's just like you have to think of it like,
it's very true.
They don't know you, they haven't met you, they don't know you. They just see what they see.
Yeah.
And it's just crazy. Like trolls, I'm like,
who are they? Can we out them? Like, who actually are they? Like, they're always user 223, or like they always have cats as their icon. Like, why is it always cats? This is why I don't like cat people, because like I don't trust you guys. Like, you guys are always the ones like doing it. Like they always have cat emojis, or it'd be like cat 123, and I'm like, you're calling me like fat and ugly, and like you end up going on the page and you're like, it's always the weirdest pictures they post of like of the floor, like a random like stone on the floor, like just
so
random posts, and I think like the audacity,
the audacity, like
it's
come
crazy.
on now.
It's actually crazy. Like,
wow. After you posted that picture, and you stepped outside, how did it feel?
I remember being really like on edge because I was like, when people meet me, are they going to be like, oh, that post that you done? But like, no one said anything. Like, it just shows no one cares. Like, no one cares about anything you do. Like, truly, like, because I thought when I go out, people would be like, oh my God, that post you done, like, oh, what are you going through, like, blah, blah, blah. But everyone was just like, you right? Like, no one even said anything. So I was like, why was I even worried in the first place? Like, it was just like, if anything, people were just like, oh, well done. Like, that was really nice. Or like, I've been hiding mine as well. Like, I've been struggling. Like, the amount of girls as well that messaged me after I did that post that were like, oh, my skin looks like yours. Now I go on their page and it's like, we'd never know. You'd never know. So it's like, shows how many girls are actually like hiding their skin issues on their page, which is probably why I felt so lonely.
Yeah, but I think it's amazing now. Do you feel like, you know, you've hobby inspired so many people out there to show their acne and not hide it underneath makeup and normalise it? Like, how does that feel for you?
Yeah, it's nice. It's really nice. Like, I've always like been the type of girl, like at school and stuff, like I loved giving advice. I love being like the very like motherly figure. Like in my friendship group, I'm very like nurturing and stuff. So I think I've like fallen into the role of like nurturing my little like following group like so well, because it's genuinely like what I love to do. So yeah, it is crazy. Like when I get messages, sometimes I can't get back to them all and I feel so bad. But like you'll get a message that's just like, oh my God, like you've made me be able to leave the house and things like that. And I think, oh my God, like, I never used to be able to leave the house. And now I'm helping someone else like leave the house. Like it's actually crazy.
Yeah.
It's mad.
It's great though, because it goes to show you using your platform, you're being a role model for all these people out there, and it goes to show the power of social media.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, it's so powerful sometimes. Yeah. And I think, I just think it's crazy how now social media can really just help people. And it's just like, what? Like, you never thought 10 years ago this would be the world right now.
It was quite a toxic place before, I feel. Like, it was like, don't really feel like social media was like positive place. It was just kind of like, to be fair, it was just like a place you posted pictures of like your friends and things like that. Like it was exactly like a cute flower you saw on a walk. Like now it's just like you're making people's lives like turn around. Like it's pretty intense. Like that's why sometimes I like will post my down days, like when I'm crying loads, or like I will post some days because like I know you can go on my page and it can almost sometimes feel like, how are you so okay with it? Or like, obviously my skin's so much better now. Like it's definitely on the way to being like fully healed, but I was okay with it even when it was bad. And I think people will be like, how, like you're making it seem so easy, but it's not easy. Like that's why I like to post like bad times and like sad times and things like that, because it's like definitely not an easy road, and it never really was. Like even when I first posted, my first post seemed like I was like so okay with it, and all the posts after that, but I was still like for a good like maybe like even a year, like I was still like covering up and hiding. I was just sort of posting, and like when I look back on it, I always say like I think that was almost like I manifested through posts, like the same way people manifest writing down. Like I was writing so many captions, like pretending that I was like so happy with myself. Like by the end of it, I just was like, and I didn't even think about it. So I think that was my own way of like manifesting, just not writing on a piece of paper. Like I was writing it in post. Yeah. And then like suddenly one day I was like actually believing what I was writing in the captions, and now I'm like totally fine with it. So yeah, I always say to people like, if you've got like bad skin or like you've got body issues, like start like a private Instagram and start like posting like you're an influencer, like the type of post that I do, and then slowly like add your friends to it, like one by one, like slowly add them, like who you trust the most, and then by the time you've like built up a little safe space, maybe go off private and like free yourself. Like I think that's a really nice thing to do. That's an incredible advice of like, yeah, it's cute. That's a really good idea, and it's all about taking babe steps, isn't it? Yeah, exactly. Like it doesn't have to be like do one big post like I did, because I wasn't even going to do that. Like my boyfriend done that for me, so like I didn't even have the balls to do that, so I'm not expecting everyone to do that. But the private thing, it'd be like you can just slowly bring people in until enough people know that you feel like so fine about it. That's really, really good. That's a really good takeaway from this, actually. It's like, take it baby steps. Like, you don't, do what's best for you, isn't it? Yeah, exactly. Like, sometimes people aren't ready, so it's all about, like you said, creating that safe space, and then, you know what, actually ready for the world to see it now. Yeah, exactly. I love that. That's really good. Yeah, I love that. Cute. I know how you do. I'm like, that's really good. I was like, yeah. Really good. I'm like, yeah. Make sure the people know that.
So you've worked with some brands, haven't you? You've worked with like ASOS.
Yeah.
And how's it feel like working with these amazing brands now?
Yeah, it's pretty mad. Like from going from like someone who really hated themselves to like now like brands are okay with like when skincare brands, I think, oh, like a skincare brand wants to work with me and I've got like bad skin. But I think that's probably the way it should be. So a lot of the time, like you see people who got these like 14-step skincare routine. They don't even need it. Like their skin's like beautiful. Like you should really be like focusing and using the people that have got the skin issues that need sorting like in the ads. So like I thought that was really nice when I started to see like way more like people with skin issues working with brands. But even like beauty brands and like ASOS and things like that, like you'd expect them to like want really like gorgeous, like made up, like beautiful skinned girls, but like when they want to work with me, I just feel like, wow, that's so nice, because although it's great for me because obviously it's my job and like getting paid and things like that, it's way more for the people that view it. Because like if I saw somebody, I can't remember, I think it was I can't remember what brand it was, it might have been La Roche-Posay or something like that. They did a TV advert and it was the first time I'd seen acne like on a TV screen, and I remember the moment I was like, what? I was like, what the hell? That looks so strange, like someone with acne, like on TV. Because like in films and stuff, like the only person with acne is like the little weirdo that's like the nerd, or like no normal people like have acne in like adverts or like in films or like things like that. So it's great to like be doing things like that.
Yeah, because I feel like the world's kind of changing now. Like back in the day, like I said, like films and stuff, it would always be like the person that's a bit different. It's kind of like played as like, you know, the weirdo or whatever.
Yeah, the little bit overweight one, or the one that's got like spots, like they're like the little freak. Yeah. But it's like most people like have a belly pouch and like go through a time where they have spots. Like it really doesn't make you like worthy of being the little freak in the film. Like it's just very normal.
And I think it's great because I think now a lot of things are normalising. It's like TV, especially now, actually starting to catch up and be like, actually, you do need to make a change, and it does affect so many people's mental health when you just see the same thing on TV every day, same adverts, and you know, like I said, you saw someone with acne on TV, and you thought, you probably thought like about time, you know, it's about time like that's happened.
It is about time. Like, even just if they just put like a random kid with acne like in like a series or something as a normal character, like how good would that be to just know that you don't have to like. Even like the ads that I do, sometimes I try to not make them so like about like skin positivity. Sometimes I just want to be someone existing with like skin problems doing an advert, like, or like doing like going on a walk, doing like mundane things, because you don't always have to be like either posting like proper like self-love stuff. You can just be like happy in yourself going about your normal day and have like skin issues as well.
Yeah, 100%. And do you use like a specific skincare for your acne?
Yeah, so like I'll have like treatment days. So like I'll do like a hydration day, a treatment day, like a resurfacing day, like, and that's how I do it. And then I alternate. So like, because obviously as an influencer, like you get a lot of products. So like I try not to, I know people say you use too many products, you make your skin worse. But like I know the products that work for me, and I do have like a big range of products. But I like separate my days into like hydration, like treatment, so that like I'm really getting the most out of that like isolated ingredient, and then I just like so is there any like specific products you would, you know, give advice to use if you suffer? The Paula's Choice BHA, like I know a lot of people love that already. That I just feel like when I'm starting to go down a bad road, like when I start using that, I feel like it really does bring me back. And Ren, I absolutely love the skincare Ren. Like it's all very clean, like very like natural stuff. Like I really noticed like when I started going down more of the natural skincare route, my skin got a lot better, because like I was using so many like random crazy acids. Like, I didn't even know what the acid was. I was just throwing it all over my face, like trying to sort it out. But like when I really stripped it back and went more like natural products, I think it definitely got better.
Yeah, because like, especially like fragrance stuff as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Makes it worse for your
There's
skin.
So much stuff in skincare, like you would not believe. Like on the back of a skincare bottle, like you can never read any of the products. Like it's like this long, like, and it's like what actually is in that. Like sometimes all you need is just like the real basics. Yeah, and like time to trial out an ingredient. Like I was using so many different ingredients. Why I have like the breakdown days now is because like I was doing so much random stuff. Like I wasn't actually understanding what ingredients was working for me. Yeah. Now I've worked out the ingredients that work for me. I will just separate them into each day.
Nice, that's good. Sorry, I think because I think a lot of people people out there with acne probably don't know like what to use, where to start, and it's like the label at the back. I sometimes read it, I'm like, I don't even know like what if it is.
Like,
I'm just
what
like,
is that? Inky List is really good for that because they will have like on the bottom it says like where that particular product goes in your skincare routine. So when I first started, I like really used a lot of Inky List because it would be like, that one's the treat one, that one's the moisturised one, and it's in a line, and it will tell you like where that goes. So like if you are new to it, I'd probably recommend Inky List.
Yeah,
because they're like good, like isolated ingredients, but like it's pretty easy and simple stuff.
Your makeup wheels as well. You now accentuate your acne. You now do your makeup around your acne now, and I think that's amazing because it's like you now don't hide it. You're like, actually, you know what? You can use makeup to even like just to embrace it more.
Yeah, exactly. Like I would normally like use makeup and like hide my acne, whereas now like I'll do like foundation free looks. Like it's very rare you'll catch me in foundation now, like even when my skin was really bad.
Yeah,
like my skin's good now, so it's like I'm okay, but even when it was bad, like I would still like, since I was okay with it, I wouldn't wear foundation. Like sometimes I'll go out on like, if I go on a night out, sometimes I'll be like, yeah, tonight I don't want to be like a kid with acne, like I want to like cover it up, and that's so fine. Like sometimes I don't want to have acne. Like I think sometimes like I get comments that's like, why do you keep like promoting acne like it's something you should have, or like something you should, and it's like, I'm not saying go out and get yourself like a pile of acne, like I'm not saying that, like it's a horrible thing to have, and like I don't want it. Like I'm just accepting and living with it like happily. Like it's not like I'm promoting like have it, it's really fun and great, because it's not.
That's so weird. Like, why would people want to say that? Like, you're being positive and you're sharing your journey to help other people out there.
I know.
You're just normalising it.
Yeah,
that's
like
all it is.
If you want to, like you can be happy with acne. You don't have to be crying at home, and like if you've got a belly pouch, you don't have to like wear high waisted like Spanx every day. Like you can just live. Like, absolutely fine with it.
Yeah,
like,
and I think, especially with body positivity as well. And I think when I was younger, I used to be really like lanky and really skinny, and people used to literally say to me like, "You're really lanky" and stuff. And I'd be like,
that's a whole nother thing though, isn't it?
I'd be like, "Yo, what?"
Yeah, like people think that because you're like really slim, like you've got no issues, but like that's like I know a lot of people that really were insecure about how like skinny they were, and like how unwomanly they feel because they didn't have like curves and things like that. So like it does go both ways. Like I've always like, I've got an odd body type where like I'm not big, but I'm quite small, but like I've always carried a lot of my weight on my stomach, and I guess that like is what makes me maybe look a bit bigger. But as a whole, I'm quite a small girl. Like I'm not big. So like that always gave me a bit of body dysmorphia, because I was like, who am I? Like, what do I look like? Am I bigger? Am I smaller? And I think like as a kid, because I always had a little bit of a belly, like that was like a struggle, because people would be like, you're fat, and then I'd be like, I don't know, like what? I don't, like it's so hard. Like I think that's where like a bit of body dysmorphia starts to develop, because it's like you're told one thing, you're probably told you're lanky, and then you're probably thinking, am I like, it gets you so confused about your own perception of yourself.
That's crazy. And I think, you know, people, every body shape is beautiful, and I see now like on clothing websites and stuff, like you see cellulite that's being normalised, you see like belly pouch, like you see everything just being normalised, and I think it's just so good to see, because I know like a lot of my friends that struggle with their body image, and when they see, you know, someone on a website or something, they're like, oh my gosh, like
it's nice.
It's nice to see that.
I can imagine as a dancer, you probably like, I feel like there's a lot of expectations, I know. From our friend, like I know that there's like a lot of like expectations, like what you've got to look like to get parts and to get roles and things like that. Like I can imagine like a lot of comparison. Like you went to college, didn't you? Like I can imagine like the comparison with the girls was probably like quite intense. Like
I think the dance uni I went to was a very open kind of diverse space. I didn't feel like I needed to kind of be like, I have to eat a salad like every day. I go into dance uni and eating chocolate cake and stuff. Like I was just like, I know I'm supposed to be dancing healthy, but I just love a bit of cake or a bit of chocolate. Like,
because you only live once, you know what I mean? I'm not a rabbit. I'm not going to eat greens my whole life, you know what I mean? If I want a bit of cake, I will eat a bit of cake.
Like even last night, I just bought myself a creams. I thought, you know what? I've had probably 4 creams last week as well.
Go for it, love. Just go wild. Like that's my motto. Like I had such a restricted life as well. Like like when I went through like body image issues and like eating issues and stuff, like my life was so restricted then. Now like I find it so fun to like go out and get a pizza and like not have any issues with it, or not be like, oh, I'll just eat half of it and then I'll leave the other half. Like now I'm just like, give me a fat pizza and just let me demolish it all. And I think that's just, find so much comfort in that now, like to be able to just do that and like go get a Krispy Kreme donut and just eat it.
Live your life.
Just live, laugh, love.
That's what you need to do. And I think it's quite interesting because the other week I was doing like a press interview. And obviously I work with Van Summers. I do
I love that. I love that for you.
Like I love Van Summers because they are really diverse and inclusive as a brand. And one of the questions I got, it was like a random press night somewhere, I can't remember where, but they were like, do you feel the need to go to the gym and eat healthy for underwear shoots? And I was a bit like, it's a bit of a damaging question because I literally said, I was like truthful, I said up front, I don't gym. I probably go to gym once a week. Andrew would have to drag me out of bed to go. And 2, I eat takeaways every night. I'm not going to lie. I love eating takeaways. And it's just kind of like, I feel like questions like that, it's not really necessary to ask.
No, it's a bit loaded, like trying to, like, well, I don't understand what's the good answer, what's the bad answer.
Yeah.
Like,
and it's like, it doesn't matter if you gym, doesn't matter if you eat healthy, doesn't matter if you eat takeaways, like it shouldn't matter. Like all that matters is, you know, just being beautiful in your body
and happy. Like obviously health's the thing. Like I get a lot of comments about it, like you should still be looking after your body. Like I do. Like I love going to the gym. I love being really healthy, but I also am not gonna like kick myself like for having a donut. Like there's like a balance of like making sure you're looking after your health and like making sure you feel good inside and like feel like you've got energy and like eating good foods, but also like not having that like horrible like doubt and like horrible conversation with yourself in your mind like after you've eaten something that's maybe a bit like naughty.
I feel like you kind of like that still kind of needs to be a bit normalized. Like it's okay to have, like I know some people that literally like gym like all the time like, and they feel bad to even have like pizza, and I'm like just go for it.
It's like, just not life. It's not really a life like living. Like I do try to eat healthy, and I think that's probably something I do still struggle with, because like I do like when I do have moments of eating, like sometimes my mind can go a bit negative, but then I'll always be like, that singular like little treat that I'm having is not going to change. I'm not going to wake up in the morning and be like 20 stone bigger. Like it's just not. Same like question they asked you about your lingerie shoot, like if you had eaten a donut before that, you're not going to look any different. Like, or if you went to the gym like for the week following, like you wouldn't look any different because you are like the way you are. Unless you do something really drastically different, or like you're eating loads, or like you most people stay the same and have the same diet. So like it's okay to have a little treat. It's really not going to change the way you look.
It is. But I think it's just finding what's right for you and what's right for you, like for your balanced eating, things like that. And I think body positivity is definitely making a change in the world now. I can see it, like I see brands normalising it, and it's crazy to think, like 10 years ago I had no one to look up to with a deafness, and now there's so much more with that world.
You are that person now for other people. Like
it's crazy to even like think it, but it's just, it's nice to have like people like us using our platform for good and actually talk about things that matter.
Yeah, definitely. Like Instagram and like TikTok and that type, like it can be such like a meaningless like place, like where you're just scrolling and I think so mind numbing. So it's nice to just come across something where it's like made a little bit of an impact, or like just improve someone's day. Like it's just so nice.
Yeah, 100%. So what advice would you give to those out there that, you know, are suffering with the body image and acne? Like what's your best advice you can give?
I think like obviously like what we said before with like the private Instagram thing, like that's like a bit of advice I always give, because it's like a very practical bit of advice of something that you can do like today. Because I know like sometimes when people like say, what's like advice you've got, you like you say such meaningless things like, you know, don't worry about it. Like sometimes people bloody worry about it. Like you can't just wake up in the morning, like I know myself, like you can't wake up in the morning and just be like so fine with it. So I think doing like little things like that Instagram is like giving you a little practical task to try and learn how to love yourself, because there's no way you're going to wake up in the morning and be like self-love. Like it's just like, it does not happen that way. Like if you don't like yourself, you don't like yourself. Like, and you need to do like practical things like that private Instagram thing to build the self-love muscle in your brain, like to not go to a negative place all the time and go to a more positive place. Like that's probably the advice I'd give. Like, do more practical things. Like, don't rely on like quotes, like cringy quotes to like get you by, because like you need to just like work on it like hard.
Yeah, like confidence is not something that happens in a day. It's a journey. It really is a journey, and you have to overcome those like obstacles. And I always go by the saying, like I've probably said it in every podcast now, is that life's a climb but the view's great, and it's all about
that's cute,
climbing it and then like actually get to the top and you're like, I did it, you know. It's all about taking those steps.
Like if I didn't post that picture on Instagram, I'd be in the exact same place. Like I did a practical change, like, and that like then was a catalyst for everything else to happen great in my life. Like you need to do something, not just think you're going to wake up one day and be like, oh, I'm so fine with it, 'cause it just probably realistically won't happen.
No matter like how hard like time can get, it's all like you have to have the right support around you as well. And like, do you have like a close net of friends?
Yeah, like, I've got a really good support system. Like I think because no one like suffered with skin problems like in my family, they kind of didn't really understand it, to be fair, at first. Like they were just a bit like, whoa, like, because I was like, I can't leave the house, and they were just like, oh, it's fine. Like, so I think they like learned how to like deal with it the same way I was learning how to deal with it. So I think also to a family member and to friends, it can be quite shocking. Like when it was all over my face, like my mum was like being like she was like shocked as well, just as much as me, and like, it was quite difficult for them to like look at me like and like see obviously someone they love with like something all over their face that's like growing, and they're thinking, oh my god, it's going to get worse. So I think it was quite stressful for them as well to go through, but they were always there. And like obviously I've got my boyfriend who like everything all started when I was getting with him, so like that was like a tormenting time for me, because I'd set like an alarm at like 4 a.m, like really quiet alarm by my head, and I'd like quickly go to the bathroom and put makeup over like my spots, because I was so insecure that he would leave me. And then I like took it all off and I showed him one day, and he was like, I didn't even really know, like does not care like at all. Like he didn't even notice it. Like he was like, it's so fine.
Wow.
So
how did it feel when you took it off and just
It was nice. My sleep improved. There was no more 4 a.m. alarms. Like, that was really ruining my life at one point. So it was good for that to be over. And like, I think everyone wants to look beautiful when they're getting with someone. Like everyone wants to like you even see it in films when girls wake up in the morning like early before the boyfriend, and they're like
face on makeup, like
like pretending like teeth brushed. Like now I look like a dog in my breastics. Like and I'm so fine with it. But like I know like I'm not weird to be like that, because I know that everyone does that even when they're not got an insecurity. But I had that like developing while trying to develop my relationship with him, and I thought, you know, who like he's not going to want to be with someone that's got like spots all over their face. Like, can't be attractive. Like, it just can't be. Like, that's where my mind was. So like once I'd got his like acceptance, like it was just absolutely fine. I felt fine about it after that, which is nice.
That's so nice. And,
yeah.
Oh, I love that. I think it goes to show that, you know, like your partner can just love you for who you really are. It doesn't matter.
They don't love you for your skin type. Like, it's so strange.
He loves you for you.
Yeah, exactly. Like, there's no one in your life, like, if you can think about it, there's no one in your life that you love because of the way they look. Like, unless you're like a weirdo, like, or have like with someone just for like the way they look, which maybe there's people out there that do that. But realistically, who you personally love around you, like your favourite people in the world, there is no way you love them because of the way they look. Like, they could be covered in spots, they could have rolls, they could like, and you will love them because of the person that they are. Like, same way with your family, you love your family. Like, you don't care what your family look like, you just love them because of who they are. And that's exactly the same with you. Yeah, like, how everyone looks at you.
So true. So true. I feel like this has been such a lovely, like, empowering like chat. Like, thank you for opening up, and you've just been so open. And there's this one question I always ask at the end.
Yeah, go on.
And so I'd know what I define as your superpower. What would you define your superpower is?
My superpower. Shit, got so many. No, I'm joking. I'm joking. Oh my God, I don't know. Probably, I don't know what the word for it is, but like being like nurturing to the people around me, and like making everyone feel like they are comfortable to be themselves, like whatever that word is. Like, I feel like is
maybe like maybe empowering.
Yeah, maybe empowering. Yeah, like I just love that people feel comfortable to be themselves, like around me, and like have their biggest insecurities out. And I think that's like what my Instagram is, like allowing people to be themselves. So I think that's probably Inspiring my superpower.
I love that. I love it. Thank you so much, Izzie, for
you're so welcome.
being here. And yeah, for everyone that's watched this, I hope that you can take away, you know, Izzie's giving great advice and really amazing, you know, way that you've overcome your acne and your struggles, and the fact that you're embracing it now. And I hope people can take away from this, and you know, you're such an inspirational person. So thank you so much for coming on.
No, thank you for making a podcast for me to come on.